So as that interview was playing there, Lauder, former Trump White House, and Mosca, former Obama White House, said the exact same thing. What was it?
We did. That we went through the entire interview where he talked about process and never mentioned one issue.
Yeah.
He never gave the voters, whether they're watching NewsNation or whether they're listening to him at the Iowa State Fair, one reason to vote for him. And yet he was complaining about the only focus is process.
And Kelly gave him many opportunities to talk about what would he talk about on the debate stage. You twist everything. You can twist it. And he did not tell the voters why it mattered that he was even there. It was like, oh, yeah, you know, I do want Trump to show up, you know, and it's like, who are you running against and why are you running? And that is the reason that his campaign is not getting traction.
What's up with the campaign there for Ron DeSantis?
So obviously the DeSantis campaign has not been the thing that I guess DeSantis supporters have hoped for. But at the same time, he's walking this really fine line where if you want to take Trump and bash him over the head and say his COVID policy sucked and look at everything that he did, you're going to lose Trump supporters. And you want to gain those Trump supporters. 50% of Trump supporters say that they're willing to follow somebody else. And so when DeSantis talks about, I'm just like the good guy here talking about process, he's at least not losing those supporters.
Why is he gaining them? What reason do they have?
He's given no contrast, and I think what people thought was going to be Ron DeSantis' campaign or what he pitched was, I'm going to be Trump with the attention span. Instead, we got Trump with less charisma, and that's just not a good place to be. You look at the New York Times Siena poll, and this is the hard spot that Ron DeSantis is in. On the issues, people prefer Trump no matter what side you're on, whether you want to cut Social Security or increase Social Security, whether or not you think corporations are woke and we should go after them or we should leave the corporations alone. We should have more aid to Ukraine or less aid to Ukraine. He's just dominating the field.
I'm not taking a side here, but when you look at, can we put up the Iowa Republican polling? Ron DeSantis is running second there, right? And so Donald Trump, and there are the numbers, 44, by a long distance, right? So for all the negative headlines and what's going on with DeSantis and all this, at the end of the day, he entered second in the race
yes.
to by the way, the former president of the United States. And where is he? He's still there.
Well, and look, I drove 30,000 miles around that state, and I watched voters are very slow to change, to move. But I will say, you know, one of the biggest problems is his wife was a local TV anchor. I think she's dynamic and she's powerful on message, but she's not a strategist. It's not like Michelle Obama was telling Barack Obama what to say. There was David Axelrod, there was David Plouffe, there were people who actually knew what to say. And I don't think DeSantis has those people. I mean, we talked about he's got a lawyer running his campaign. He's got to have a message that actually resonates with the people of Iowa more than just taking your family to the state fair. And I got to tell you, we did it better. Just
Tim,
saying.
You were with Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Yeah.
And a lot of the criticisms then were the personality, the character. She's not a good candidate. And we saw what happened. She
won the nomination.
She did win the nomination,
yeah,
but she didn't win the general. Can Ron DeSantis eventually be the next president of the United States if he has some of the same, as many would say, issues with the personality that Hillary Clinton
I feel like every day we get a new clip of Ron DeSantis interacting with a voter and everyone walks away from it feeling very weird. And I think in Iowa and in New Hampshire, in these states where they expect retail politics, that you're going to go talk with voters, you're going to convince them for a long period of time, that's a huge problem. So I think the whole let Ron be Ron is kind of the way they're looking to get out of this muck that they're in with all of the campaign resets. I really don't know that that's the answer, and that's a conundrum. I don't know how they get out of it.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.